Big trades in the NFL are sometimes described as earthquakes or bombshells, and with that comes the expected aftershock of trying to immediately grade these trades based on every ripple that happens between the involved parties. The first ripples for both the Dallas Cowboys and Green Bay Packers from the Micah Parsons and Kenny Clark trade are in the books to start the 2025 season. Right away, the Packers have an advantage in the win column after beating the Detroit Lions for the first time in 3 tries at home, 27-13. The Cowboys lost their season opener 24-20 in Philadelphia to the defending champion Eagles. When it comes to how the reigning winners of the NFC North, the division with the best record in football a year ago, is playing against Micah Parsons instead of Kenny Clark now, the Lions head coach had an interesting take. Dan Campbell gave the impression to the CBS top broadcast crew of Jim Nantz and Tony Romo that they were actually more relieved to not be playing against Clark than they worried about Parsons. It felt like they were more relieved Kenny Clark was gone than they were concerned that Micah Parsons was coming to Green Bay, Jim Nantz. Nantz and Romo both strongly agreed they got the feeling Campbell was more in favor of game planning for Parsons in the season opener compared to facing Clark again. Over the time Campbell has been the Lions head coach since 2021 and Clark was with the Packers, the Lions actually went 6-2 against them. Despite sweeping them last year, 2 of the Lions' 5 lowest rushing performances came against the Packers last year. Clark made his impact, but the Lions found ways to come out on top. Conversely, Campbell's team went 0-2 against the Cowboys with Parsons, who had 2 sacks in the first meeting. That record for Campbell against Parsons is now 0-3, as the newest Packer wearing jersey number 1 played 30 snaps in his debut, had 2 pressures, one of which led to a red zone interception, and 1 sack in the fourth quarter protecting a 27-6 lead. Using statistics, records, and objective facts, there isn't a whole lot on the Lions side to justify this comment by Campbell right away. The victor will always get the spoils in this game, and right now that is the Packers, ending a 3-game home losing streak to the Lions with Parsons on their side. The Packers' dominant win was easy fodder for this take by Campbell to be taken as something of a joke, but it's important to separate the context of what it means for the newest Cowboys defender Kenny Clark. Campbell is still the coach responsible for turning the Lions into a respectable contender and winning 15 games a season ago, so his praise for Clark is noteworthy apart from anything to do with Parsons. Clark, Solomon Thomas, and Osa Odigizua helped the Cowboys stand tall at defensive tackle against the Eagles in ways they had not been able to before. Following a late third-quarter lightning delay, the Cowboys' defense, now coordinated by Matt Eberflus, held Saquon Barkley to -1 rushing yard on 7 carries. The defense as a whole more than did their job of getting the ball back enough times for the offense to go in the game, which they knocked on the door of doing, but fell just short. It is possible to consider the fact both teams involved in a trade can come out better, even if such a thing is frowned upon in the name of always wanting winners and losers in a competitive environment. The Cowboys' pass rush was certainly not better than it would have been with Parsons in Week 1, but they did find other ways to bring pressure and still held up in coverage. They look like a group with a lot of potential to get better as they adjust to the new scheme and get more key players back on the field. Clark officially finished with 5 combined tackles over 41 snaps, including being in on Marshawn Kneeland's sack. The Packers' defense right from the gun looked stifling, but they did have the benefit of playing from ahead early on with a 10-0 lead after 3 possessions, while both the Lions' offense and defense was being called by new coordinators. It won't be long until the Cowboys and Packers get together on Sunday Night Football in Week 4. Until then, it will be interesting to see what other NFC North coaches and players might say about both the absence of Kenny Clark or addition of Micah Parsons. The Bears and Vikings will finish off the first week of this season on Monday Night Football. The Dallas Cowboys lost a tough game against the Philadelphia Eagles last Thursday night, 24-20. Had the Cowboys made a few other plays, they would have been in a much different position to win the game. Primarily, CeeDee Lamb's drops were the biggest problem. While Lamb dropped multiple passes, it's still fair to note that he finished with 7 receptions for 110 yards, good for 15.7 yards per catch. The most important part, however, is the fact that Lamb decided to take accountability for his drops. He understands that if the Cowboys want to be the team they're looking to be moving forward, he has to be someone who makes every play for this organization. Stephen Jones, the co-owner of the Cowboys, said he was very happy to hear what he had to say. "I expect nothing less from CD," Jones said, per the team. "I know one thing. He's going to make a whole lot more plays to win us games than he doesn't. I have 100% confidence in what he stands for. Doesn't surprise me a bit that he was back on his day off on a jugs machine. He's driven to be great, and that's why we love to have CD on our football team." CeeDee Lamb gets honest about Week 1 performance. Regarding Lamb's comments after the Dallas Cowboys lost, he admitted that he was terrible. He said that he can't point fingers at anyone else and has to take full accountability for the situation and only try to improve for the Cowboys so they can win games every week. "Man, that was terrible," Lamb said following the 24-20 loss by the team's official website. "I can't point fingers at anybody else. I take full accountability and everything else that comes with that. As a player, I've prayed for moments like that and for the ball to come my way. To not come up with it, it stings a little bit." Cowboys expect CeeDee Lamb to bounce back. Whenever a player on the Dallas Cowboys doesn't make plays that fans expect them to, it'll be talked about for a few days. If Lamb returns for the Cowboys and has a big game against the New York Giants in the Cowboys' next game on Sunday, everybody will forget about it. However, that hasn't stopped many others from speaking about it, including head coach Brian Schottenheimer. "Don't worry about CeeDee Lamb," Schottenheimer said. "CeeDee's going to be fine. What a great player. This was a team defeat and we own that. We understand where we can go as a football team. We understand. I love the competition. I thought guys competed their butts off. I thought that was great, but we're all about winning and we didn't win tonight, and therefore it's not good enough." While it was a frustrating night for Lamb in total because of his drops, it'll be good to see him bounce back. If there's one player that the Cowboys can count on to make plays when it matters most, it's their star wide receiver, who many consider to be one of the top in the NFL. Whenever a big name surprisingly hits the open market, it only makes sense for just about every team in the NFL to nose around that player and see if there is a fit that can be made, especially if it can be made on a bargain contract. The Cowboys, like all NFL teams, enjoy a good bargain on a talented player, and with the Raiders' stunning cut of defensive lineman Christian Wilkins, it only makes sense that they're being asked about their level of interest, too. Indeed, Wilkins makes some sense for a defensive line that badly needs depth and versatility. The Cowboys re-signed Osa Odigizua this offseason, but there is not a lot of faith in his bookend, Motzie Smith, nor is there much depth on the chart behind those two. Veteran backup Solomon Thomas and 7th-round pick Jay Toya are currently the DL backups. Dropping Wilkins into the mix would certainly be an upgrade in talent. Cowboys look at anybody that becomes available. But Team VP Stephen Jones, son of owner Jerry Jones, was non-committal about the prospect of adding Wilkins when the topic was broached on Saturday. According to veteran Cowboys beat reporter Mike Fisher, Jones said only, "You'll look at anybody that becomes available." And Wilkins is available, apparently after wearing out his welcome following just 1 year in Las Vegas. How healthy Wilkins is remains a matter of contention. The impetus for the Raiders to cut Wilkins and wash themselves, pending an appeal, at least, of their remaining commitment to him was apparently his need for a surgery on his foot, which followed a Jones fracture that did not heal. Wilkins did not get the surgery, and instead chose to rehab. The Raiders used that as leverage to get out of the $35 million remaining on their $85 million guarantee to him. Wilkins' total contract was worth $110 million. Christian Wilkins had an incident involving a teammate. A further report alleges that the Raiders also had an issue with Wilkins after he got into a confrontation with another player. Details of the report, which comes from CBS Sports' Josna Anderson, are sketchy. But, Anderson wrote, "Some league sources believe an incident involving a teammate may have factored in part into the Raiders' fatigue and release of defensive tackle Christian Wilkins, beyond the management of his foot injury as the reported predominant cause." The Raiders have not officially confirmed an incident or a complaint involving Wilkins and a teammate, while another direct league source confirmed awareness of a situation in which Christian was playing around. Cowboys would be gambling. Would the Cowboys want to play around with Wilkins? That depends on which version of him the team thought it would get and whether he would want to come to Dallas. Wilkins played every game for 3 straight seasons in Miami before he signed with Las Vegas, and while he was effective when he suited up for the Raiders, the team obviously was not impressed with his approach after he was injured. Wilkins played only 5 games in 2024. Wilkins posted a 74.7 grade at Pro Football Focus in 2024, which was 21st among defensive linemen, and posted an 80.2 grade against the run. That ranked 3rd.